Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Daniela, and if you're new here, I make upcycling videos and also some basic tutorials for sewing. In this video, we will be seeing how did I make this black corset top. I have created another video to give you more information about corset. Make sure you check that out. I will also add the link of that video here and also in the description box below in case you want to check that out. I did not include all that information in this video because otherwise the length of this video would be very long. I have also added the link of all the things which are required to make a corset in the description box below. So in case you need it, you can check that out. I have been receiving a lot of comments about how much fabric is required to make an outfit or to make a dress. To make a corset, you require half a meter of fabric. In case you have a scrap fabric or very little fabric left after a project, you can use it to make a corset. I have tried to cover all the details in this video, but in case you still have a question, please let me know in the comment section. Also, if you're here, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Now, without any further delay, let's get into the video. Okay, as you can see, I have drawn some horizontal line, which are the bust line, under bust line and the waist line. Please check my basic bodice tutorial to see the measurements. So right now I am just darkening these lines, the bust line, the under bust line as well as the waist line. My bust line is at 9.5 inches, under bust is at 12 and waistline is at 15 inches. I have also labeled them for reference. I have also drawn the armhole line and the upper bust line. We need the upper bust line, okay? The upper bust line here is important, so make sure you will draw it. Now once this is done, from your bust line, you have to draw a line which is above your bust line. So the coverage, okay? I'm going to draw a line at 3 inches. If you want deep neck, you can make it 2 inches. If you want more coverage, you can make it 4 inches. But I am going to draw a line at 3 inches. Okay. Once that is done, I will mark a point at 1 inch below this line that I have just drawn. Now on this line which I have drawn at 3 inches, I need to mark the distance between my straps plus half inch. You will know why that half inch later. Now I will join this point with that 1 inch mark which I had done because I want my neckline to be like this. If you want to keep it straight line, you can still keep it a straight line, that should be fine. Now the next step is very important. Do not skip it. Okay. So from your upper bust line, you have to come down by 1 inch. Always do it, don't skip it, because if you skip it, we will be adding boning. That boning will hurt you in your armhole if you don't come down by 1 inch. Okay, so do that and mark that point. And then join this point with your strap point with a curve like this. I made the curve a little deeper like this. Okay, I will just cancel the first curve that I had drawn. Now the next thing which you need to mark is your nipple to nipple measurement. Divide by 2. Okay, so whatever is your measurement, you have to mark that point on your bust line, on your waistline, on your upper bust line, and then draw a straight line. Once that is done, we will be creating darts, and for that dart, we will mark on your under bust line 3/8 of an inch on both the sides. Okay, so it's not half inch, it's 3/8 of an inch. And on your waistline, I'm going to draw half inch. Now just join these 2 points with a straight line. It will be a little slope, very little slope. Now take your French curve and then join your bust point with these lines like this. You can see my curves are inwards, okay, not outwards. Now you remember we added half inch at the top while taking the strap length measurement, because that ½ inch will go here. Okay, so I have marked 1/4 of an inch on both the sides, and then I will draw a curve like this. Okay, so this part will also be removed. The part that I am cancelling will be removed. Now we will do the marking for the bust part. So you need to mark your nipple to nipple measurement on your bust line. Okay, so I have done the marking here, and on your under bust line what you will do is whatever is your nipple to nipple measurement minus 1 inch plus this dart part which is going to be removed. Okay, just see how much is it and then add that part as well. So if your nipple to nipple measurement is 5, then 5 minus 1 plus whatever is the dart measurement, you have to add that. And then mark a point and then join those 2 points with a curve like this. Also connect the bust point with your strap point. Okay, I call this a strap point wherever your strap is going to be. I will just cancel out the upper line so that there won't be any confusion. Now we need to mark the horizontal measurements. Okay, so the bust part is done. Okay, now let's mark the horizontal lines. Measure this part which we are going to cancel. How much is the distance between these two lines? It would be 1 inch because we took half inch on both the sides. Now whatever is your waist measurement, add 1 to it because that dart is going to go. Okay, so mark that point and then join these points together. On your bust line you will be marking 1/4 of your bust measurement as there is no dart. On your under bust line, make sure that you double check the width of your under bust line. That should be 1/4 of your under bust part plus whatever part is going to go in the dart. Now I will just go ahead and do the markings like this, which indicates that it is on fold. Okay, and then once that is done, you just have to go ahead and cut your pieces. See how am I cutting it? You have to do the exact same thing. Now once that is done, you have to join the bottom pieces. You see, I'm joining these two pieces with a sellotape. Okay, you can only join the pieces which are the straight line. So when you will join them together, there won't be any gap. You can't do the same thing for the above pieces because they are curved. So I have joined these two pieces with a sellotape. Now as you can see on the screen, the corset has a little V on the front. And I forgot to do it while drafting, so I will just go ahead and extend the front part. So I'll just go ahead and add some extra paper at the bottom. And then I will extend the folded side by 3 inch. I'll mark a point at ½ inch and then join it together. And then I will join this point with my corner of the waist. And then I will just go ahead and cut this piece. So this is how your pieces will look like. These are the front patterns. For the back pattern, I'm just going to keep my front part. You see, I'm not keeping the bust area, only the other part. And I'm going to keep it on a paper and then trace the side line. You have to make sure that you're keeping the front piece parallel to this paper for the back piece. And then you have to go ahead and trace the side line. And once that is done, I will just draw the horizontal line, and this is 5.5 inches. That is on the top. The bottom one as well, I'm going to make a little slope. I don't want it to be a straight line, so I'm just going to make a curve here. Another thing that I will do is I'll just come 1 inch down and then make a line like this. So this is going to be my back pattern. I will just go ahead and cut it now. Now your pattern pieces are ready. I have taken buttercrepe for lining and satin for the main fabric. Then you have to go ahead and cut the pieces for both lining fabric as well as the main fabric. Don't forget to add the seam allowance. Also, you can see that I have added interfacing to the lining fabric, not to the main fabric. I have added it to the lining fabric. So do that as well. Also cut the fabrics which are on fold. So you can see I have cut that pieces on fold. So you have to do the same thing. So I have kept the pieces side by side. These are the bust area pieces. And now you have to go ahead and stitch it. You can see how am I doing it. You have to pin them first and then you have to go ahead and stitch them. Once you have stitched them, it will look like this. You see it is forming a little curve. Once you have stitched it, you have to press the seam open. And once that is done, you can see I have pressed the seams open. You have to attach this part to the bottom pattern piece. We will start with the horizontal line, okay? So I'm going to match the middle point with the middle point of both the patterns and then I'm going to pin it. And then go ahead and stitch it. Once you have stitched it, you need to go and add the notches on the sides. You can see because we need to connect it on the side as well. So if you add notches, it will be easier for you to connect the sides. Now I have pinned one of the sides. So you just have to keep the sides and then put the right sides facing each other and then pin them. At the bottom you might have extra fabric, but then you can gather it while stitching. So you can see how am I pinning it and you have to do the exact same thing. You can see how I have folded the fabric at the bottom. So you have to do the same thing and then pin it. Before you take it to the sewing machine to stitch it, make sure that you always flip it to the right side to see if it looks fine. And it looks fine, so I will just go ahead and stitch it. Once you have stitched it, it will look like this. Now we will go ahead and attach the back pattern pieces. For that, I will keep the pattern pieces side by side and then pin them right sides facing each other. After pinning, take it to the sewing machine and stitch it. Now once that is done, you have to follow the exact same steps for the main fabric as well, for the satin pieces. And once you have done it, your satin piece will look like this. This is the main fabric, okay? I have followed the exact same steps. Now on my lining fabric, there is this highest point where I'm going to attach my straps. So I have created straps and I'm going to pin them to this pointed edge. Okay, you can see how am I doing it. It is on the right sides and the strap is hanging downwards. Okay, so you have to do the same thing. Now for the back, I'm going to mark a point at 2 inches on both the sides. And then I will take these loops which are used for adjustable straps. So I will take the circular loop and I will insert a strap of 2 inches in it. And then pin this strap like this. You can see this is also pinned downwards. Okay, just like the straps. Do it on the other side as well and then take it to the sewing machine and stitch it. Once you have done that, you have to take your main fabric and then keep it right sides facing each other on the lining fabric. And pin the topmost part as well as the sides. Then stitch it. Once you have stitched it, you have to go ahead and add the notches and then flip it on the right side. Okay, you can see how the straps are coming out, and also it is almost done. Then I'm just going to align the sides and pin them so that I can remove the extra fabric or the fabric which is not lining properly. So you can see I'm just making sure that the lining fabric and the main fabric are aligned properly. Now to add boning, what I have done is I have created channels at the corners of the back pieces. So you can see I'm trying to show, I'm not sure if you can see, but these are just straight line stitches which are creating channels. Okay, so in these channels you have to go ahead and add your boning. We will do this later, but this is just for demonstration purposes that you have to create these channels. Okay, I'm trying to show here again, it is little bit visible. These are just straight lines, okay, that I have stitched, and the gap between two lines depends on your boning size. Also, I have these golden eyelets which I will be attaching in the middle part. Okay, so basically there are 3 channels, 2 for the boning and the middle one is for eyelets. Now all I'm doing is pinning the lining fabric and the main fabric together so that they will stay intact, because I need to draw the lines for the boning. Okay, so there would be one line which is in the middle and other 2 lines would be on the sides. So I am drawing the lines on the bust span line. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw these lines, and then you have to create channels on these lines. Again, the channel width depends on the width of your boning. Then I will go ahead and make my adjustable straps. I will create a separate video about how to make your straps adjustable. Now this is how our corset top looks after adding the channels. I'm not sure if you can see, but there are channels that are created also on the sides. So in total we have 9 channels, 4 in the back, 2 on the sides and 3 in the front. So we will be adding bonings like this in the channel. But before we do that, we have to attach the eyelets. Because if you attach the boning first and then do the eyelets, it might be difficult to attach the eyelets later on. So first we will attach the eyelets and then the boning. So I have these eyelets and also the eyelets attaching tool which I got from Amazon. I will add the link in the description box below. So in order to attach the eyelets, we need to first mark the points where we will be adding the eyelets. So I will be marking the points at 1 inch apart. Don't start from the very top, keep some distance and then mark the points at 1 inch. Also the last point which you will be drawing, that should not be at the very end. Okay, you can see I have stopped way before the end. And then just keep your other side on this one so that you can trace the points on the other side. So they both will be on the equal lengths. Now to make the hole for the eyelets, I will fold the fabric twice on this point like this. And then I will cut the very corner. Also do the similar thing on the main fabric side in case the hole is not visible on the main fabric side. And now you have created a hole for your eyelet. So now I will take my eyelet and insert it into the hole. Okay. You can see how it looks. Now I will take my eyelet punching machine. There are 2 sides. One is a flat side and one is a lifted side. This lifted side I will keep at the bottom and then I will press my eyelet. Once you have done it, it will look like this. Now you have to follow the same procedure for all the other points on both the sides. And once you have done it, it will look like this. Now it's time to insert the bonings. So what I have done is I have cut the bonings of the size of the channel that I have created. You have to take half or quarter of an inch less than the actual length of the channel, because that will go in the seam allowance. Now before we insert the boning, you have to wrap a paper tape around the corners, because otherwise it will be very edgy. So you can see I am just attaching the paper tape at the corner, and I am going to trim the excess fabric also on the sides. So once you have done that, it looks like this. You have to do it on both the sides for all the bonings. And then once you have done that, go ahead and insert all your bonings in the channels. Once you have done it for all the channels, it will look like this. Now the only thing that is remaining is the finishing of the bottom part, for which I am using a bias tape. So to get the clean finishing at the edges, you see how am I attaching this bias tape, okay? It's on the other side I am keeping it. So you have to do the same thing. Keep your bias tape like this, and then take it to the sewing machine and stitch this part. And then you have to move the tape on the right side and then slide it towards the end. You see how am I doing it? You have to do the exact same thing. And then go ahead and pin it. The corners might be tricky, but other than that, the other part of the corset is very easy. You just have to keep your fabric in between the bias tape. So just go ahead and pin the whole corset between the bias tape. Once you have pinned it, it will look like this. Then take it to the sewing machine and just stitch it. And your corset is ready.